So, think about the last time you ordered a pizza.
Mm-hmm.
Seems pretty straightforward, doesn't it? Make the call, pick toppings, wait for delivery.
Right, easy peasy.
But underneath that simple task, there's actually this surprising world of like language details and cultural differences.
Exactly. And we've got some really interesting sources to dig into today. There's this English language learning dialogue, which is quite revealing on its own.
Yeah, and we're pairing that with commentary from someone with a very distinct Italian viewpoint on what pizza even is.
Yeah, so our mission today isn't just, how to order pizza 101.
No, definitely not.
It's more about unpacking the specific language people use, the hidden assumptions maybe behind this food everyone loves.
And what those differences tell us about culture.
Yeah.
We'll look at the phrasing in that dialogue. Yeah.
And then contrast that with the Italian take and maybe even glance at how pizza gets, well, pretty wild in other parts of the world.
Okay, sounds good. Let's dive right into that pizza ordering phone call first.
Okay.
It starts. Good evening, Pizza House. This is Marty speaking. May I take your order? Very standard, very polite.
And what's interesting, the source points out the specific phrasing. This is name speaking.
Right, rather than the more casual, I'm name.
Yeah, it's a small thing, but it kind of hints at those customer service conventions, in English-speaking places anyway.
Then you get the actual order. I'd like a medium pizza with pepperoni, olives, and extra cheese.
And the dialogue even pauses to define those, which is useful if you're learning. Pepperoni, spicy sausage, olives, those little black or green things.
Yeah, sometimes found in martinis, as the source notes. And extra cheese. Well, more cheese. Pretty clear.
It just reminds you that even common food words might need a little explanation sometimes.
Definitely. And then, boom, the classic upsell.
Ah, yes. We have a 2-for-1 special on large pizzas. Would you like a large pizza instead?
The BAGO. Buy one, get one free. You hear that everywhere.
Such a common sales tactic.
But this customer, they stick to their guns, mostly. They say no, but then order a second pizza anyway.
Right. No, make the second one with ham, pineapple, and green peppers.
Pineapple. There it is. We knew it was coming.
Always sparks that conversation, doesn't it?
It does. And green peppers, okay. But then, and make it thin crust.
And again, the dialogue clarifies. Thin crust is the skinny bread part.
Which implies, there's also thick crust. Or stuffed crust these days.
Exactly. The base itself is a whole other variable.
Crucial. And then, of course, the most important question for delivery.
Could I have your address, please?
Yep. Can't forget that part. Seems basic, but essential.
Absolutely. And the call wraps up with the total cost and that delivery time promise within 30 minutes. Managing expectations.
Standard procedure. Okay, so that's the language, the transaction itself. Now let's shift gears, like you said, and bring in that Italian perspective, because this is where it gets really interesting, right? What is pizza?
It really is, because the Italian starting point is often quite different. It's fundamentally about, the crust, the tomato sauce, and the mozzarella. That's the core.
That's the base. Everything else is kind of an addition, maybe a regional thing.
Precisely. Which contrasts, sometimes sharply, with what feels like the American approach, which the commentary sort of jokes about.
Yeah, like taking everything out of the fridge and just piling it on?
Kind of. It maybe points to a different culinary idea. Italy. Focusing on a few. Quality ingredients. America. Maybe more. Abundance. Variety.
More is more.
Perhaps in some styles, yeah. And the commentary notes the success of American pizza chains globally.
But also suggests their product isn't really the same thing as the Italian original anymore. It's evolved.
Definitely evolved. And of course, the pineapple debate resurfaces.
Took it or not.
The Italian view seems to be, okay, fine if you call it Hawaiian.
Right. Acknowledges something else. Not quite traditional pizza.
There is a strong sense it's outside the classic definition. The expert even playfully suggests new names for American-style pies.
Like zippa or a zippa.
Yeah, just to kind of draw a line, culturally, it shows how much identity is tied up in the food.
I thought the description of eating those super-loaded American pizzas was fascinating, calling it an exotic experience, where the individual flavors sometimes get lost in the crowd.
Yeah, like you can't quite distinguish all the different ingredients. It's just a lot of stuff.
Which is such a different goal compared to tasting distinct, high-quality tomato, good mozzarella, fresh basil, maybe.
Exactly. And it goes beyond ingredients to how you actually eat it.
Oh, right. The commentary mentioned that too.
The Italian way, often getting your own individual pizza, sometimes folding it, it's more personal.
Compared to the typical American way. A big shared pie cut into slices for everyone.
It's just a different social dynamic around the meal itself.
Which, naturally, makes you think.
Right.
How do people eat pizza or their local version around the world?
Yeah. What other twists are out there? Because pizza is incredibly adaptable, isn't it?
Totally. It pops up everywhere, but sometimes in forms you wouldn't expect.
Beyond just thin or thick crust, which varies wildly anyway, the toppings can get really creative or unusual depending on your perspective.
Like the example mentioned, ketchup and mayonnaise on pizza in Japan.
Yeah, that's definitely a departure from, say, Naples.
It really is. And it shows how personal it gets, too. Even our own tastes. I mean, you mentioned liking Tabasco on pizza.
Yeah, I admit it. Probably not traditional anywhere, but hey.
It just goes to show how individual preference shapes the whole experience in the end.
Absolutely.
So, wow. We started with just ordering a pizza, something seemingly so simple. And we've ended up talking about specific language choices, like endless topping debates, different crust philosophies.
And these really fascinating cultural divides in what pizza means and how you're sort of meant to enjoy it.
Yeah, what really comes through is that pizza, even though it's everywhere, it isn't just one single thing.
Not at all. The words we use, the ingredients we pile on, how we share it or don't share it, it's all tangled up with culture and habit.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? When you consider all these different ways of looking at pizza, all the personal preferences, what does your perfect pizza actually say about you?
Right, and maybe about the cultural influences that have shaped what you think pizza should be.
It's more than just dinner, you know. It's kind of a reflection, something to chew on.